Coming up on today's episode.
So when we get a call, we obviously get as much information on the property as we need. We will ask them if they would consider staging. That way we can get quotes before we go to the property. So giving them as much information when we're there, again, so critical, so important. So once we've gotten all the information that we need from the phone call, we do our research on the systems that we use, and we can come up with the pricing strategy and all that type of stuff. We go to the house, we check the house out, we have that discussion. If they need trades, we assist with that. So we will call our tradespeople and say, this is what needs to be done. Can you give us some quotes? Again, we're giving our vendors everything that they need. We're taking away that stress. We're providing all the care and support that we can so that they can enjoy a really smooth process.
Dodgy advice and bad decisions can cost you big in real estate. We're here to make sure that that doesn't happen. Welcome to the No BS Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Jo Agresta, and it's time to take control of your property journey together. Welcome back, everyone, to the No BS Real Estate Podcast, your listening how-to guide to the Aussie finance and real estate market. I'm your host, Jo Agresta. Now, if you're thinking about selling your home soon, or even if you're just wondering how the hell to pick a real estate agent, this episode's for you. Today, we're chatting with someone who's built a reputation on trust, grit, and making sellers feel genuinely supported through the process. She's the principal and powerhouse behind Stockdale Leggo Langwarrin, and someone who knows the local market inside and out. Please welcome Bianca Burgdorf.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Me too. Oh my gosh, when we caught up originally, and I remember having a really good chat with you about selling, because I'm also an ex-real estate agent, and I'm like, I just totally can appreciate someone who's seen all these markets, gone through the toughness, and then started on their own, under a branch. So I need to just say, well done and congratulations on opening Stockdale Leggo Langwarrin.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Of course. Well, I think like all natural places, we have to start with your journey. So how did you end up, in a real estate career? Like, take us back. And what led you to owning your own agency?
Yeah, absolutely. So as a young girl, my dad was always into real estate. So I remember sitting around the kitchen table with him, and he'd be looking in the local paper and just looking at all the houses. So definitely sparked my interest early on. My husband, Daniel, has actually been an agent for the last 12 years. So I've been on that journey with him. So I've seen all the ups and downs of the markets, and I've seen everything. Originally, I actually had a gym for about 12 years myself. So that was a really great experience. Very successful gym. I helped hundreds of women and men, even made it onto Channel 7 for helping a client lose 70 kilos.
Oh my God. Well done.
So that was fantastic. A couple of newspaper clippings as well. So that was great. And then a couple of years ago, I just decided that I wanted to do something different. I wanted change. We've got a young family, so I wanted something that I could work around that as well. And I went to a retreat with my husband and the Stockdale Leggo crew, and I was just blown away with what I saw and how I felt being around all of those amazing people. So I decided then and there that I was going to close the gym, try and sell the gym, and transition into a real estate agent. And a lot of the skills, I guess, that I did have from being a business owner and owning the gym were quite transferable. At the end of the day, my passion is helping people, which I can do as a gym owner, which I did as a gym owner, and I can do that as an agent as well.
Oh, of course. I think that it's so transferable, right? Because gym, like whenever I've gone to a gym, I've always had a good experience, like as in with the owner or the people at the at the desk who are helping out, or PTs. And it is a very people-orientated job. And I always say with real estate, it's not about houses. It's actually about people.
Absolutely.
It's a people job, not a house job, not an asset job. So you've really nailed, I think, the right industry to transfer into.
Definitely.
Gosh, what happened at that retreat?
It was just a real transformative experience, I guess. And it just showed me what else is out there. Just being a part of a group was just such a great feeling. And as I said, I've always had an interest in real estate, and I've been along Dan's journey. So it just kind of ticked all the boxes and made sense. So I came home and I did the course in about 8 days. which they said was a record. So I just hid myself in my bedroom and
Daniel, don't look at me, just bring me food.
Pretty much. I said, keep the kids away and I'll do the rest.
We actually just realised as we have Daniel in the studio being the supportive husband today. And, he just did a whole nod. No, but that's awesome. And, I guess coming into location, right, because now, you've transformed, you've gone into a different career path, you've started on the real estate journey. What kind of drew you specifically into Langwarrin and the southeast suburbs?
Yeah, good question. So growing up in Langwarrin, I've lived in Langwarrin my whole life, and it's just such a fantastic place. It's got everything we need.
Yeah.
Great shopping centres. It's so family friendly. Great schools, great parks, great gyms, there's everything about it is just awesome. So it just made sense to want to provide a great service for the people in that area.
I think it's spot on because Langwarrin's such a great pocket because it's in between a lot of convenient suburbs.
Absolutely.
It's such a connector. Like Frankston is literally that, Coringal, Frankston,
that's right.
Cranbourne.
We're 10 minutes from the beach. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah, and it's and you don't have to have all the hang-ups of the beach and the impact it's on the house.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
10 minutes from the beach without the damage or insurance issues.
Absolutely.
And I guess what made you want to make the leap? Like did you go straight from agency and getting your license to principal, or did you kind of do it a different way?
No, that's pretty much how it happened. The opportunity came up for the Langwarrin office to be ours. So that's why I pretty much went from being an agent to a principal, which was, it all happened quite quickly. But as I said, having that knowledge through Dan, I felt like I knew so much already. So it was an easy transition for me.
Yeah, because it's not like the first time. It's like you've been around it your whole life.
That's right,
and
exactly.
It's very different when you're hearing it constantly and you're not actively involved because you learn so much without knowing it.
Absolutely. Even our kids know everything now. They'll be like, did you get the Section 32? And like, this is a 5-year-old saying it.
5-year-old. I'd be so proud.
Yeah. So, it's definitely easy to pick up when you're hearing it all the time.
Look, this is the other thing, right? Like, we've got the 5-year-old that knows Section 32.
Yeah.
A lot of average home buyers and sellers don't even know they need one.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
Funny. And I want to, switch gears, like the business, itself, like with Stockdale and your selling style. You've got an incredible track record with sellers in the Langwarrin area. So I want to talk about what you do differently. So what would you say makes your approach to working with sellers stand out?
I think I have to say our honesty and transparency from the get-go. We love helping people. That is the heart of how we do business. So having really good communication with our vendors and making the process as easy and enjoyable as possible, because for some people, it can be a very stressful and emotional time. So we are there to provide all the support, all the knowledge, and make the experience as best that we can. And I think that's what people really like about our service. And that's generally what, the feedback that we get is that we took away a lot of the stress and we made it a great experience.
That's amazing. And I think that transparency is key, right? Like at the very beginning for a lot of people, especially when they're first time sellers, you probably find that they're the ones that are the most lost in the journey.
They've got a lot of questions, and that's where we step in to obviously answer everything and provide them everything they need.
Yeah, because I think one of the, we're coming up to the busiest time of year for real estate, spring. It's always go, go, go. Are you finding that there's a lot more people coming to you now wanting to start selling their house or prepare?
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting a lot of inquiries about, what do I need to do to prepare my home for a sale, and what services do we need, like a conveyancer, a lot of people don't even know where to start. So having those conversations with them and giving them all the knowledge that they need is what we do.
It's paramount, right? And it's awesome to hear, though, that people are calling you early enough to say, what do I need to do to get ready?
Yes.
I think that's a really important part that gets undervalued.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and we're gonna talk all about that because this is super key. My grandma sold her house this year, and we're Italian family, so it was the massive house down in Noble Park. She had it for 54 years. And when she sold it, it was very emotional for everyone. But the stuff I had to do to get her ready, and the agents and talking to them, I'm lucky that I I knew what to do.
That's right.
When I think of other people who are doing this for the first time, it's I found that the agent wasn't the best experience.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I remember thinking, you know what, like I've seen so many good agents online explain things in like really simple terms. And that's what drew me to your channel. And that's what, you know, when I was talking to our marketing manager, Karina, she's like, Bianca's the one you want to talk to.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we need an honest agent, a transparent agent, and someone who's going to, you know, do that guided process. And then that's what's so clear in your content. And that's why I'm like, oh, where's Bianca? Look, I'm really sad about that.
Well, next time you know who to call.
There's no one else I'm calling, because I've met some agents and like they're all fantastic in their own right, but I think there's definitely a different type of warmth to you and your approach, which I like.
Thank you.
And how do you manage, I guess, expectations during what, like we were talking about just now, can be an emotional and financially stressful time for clients?
I think it's really important to set realistic goals and have a plan. So we can't just walk into a property with no information, no step-by-step plan. Like we need to set goals and say, you know, this is what we're expecting. If we're not getting to where we want, then what's our plan B? Having a process that we can just tick off as we go is really important. And I feel like a lot of our vendors just love that because there's no surprises. It's all, you know, that's exactly right. So I think having a strategy in place, and then if something's not working, what do we do? And we've got a plan B, we've got a plan C. If everything's working as it should, then that's fantastic. We just keep going up that ladder. So planning and having those conversations is so important, and being able to actually have honest conversations with vendors is so powerful, because at the end of the day, we're the ones that are getting all the feedback from buyers. So we're the ones that have to have those discussions with our vendors. At the end of the day, it's all about happy and successful process. And in order for us to do that, we need to have those plans in place. So
I really love how you put that, because it's a perspective that we don't often talk about, but you're right. You know, you're the one that's getting the buyer feedback, and part of your role is to deliver that feedback and sometimes very harsh or tough feedback to a vendor to say, this is just not going in the direction you want.
Yes.
Because I think there's a lot of talk in the market at the moment about underquoting and all of that stuff going on. And I think what you've described is how much of that is actually driven by vendors demanding a price. Yeah. Because I used to cop that all the time. I'm like, this is not what it's going to sell for. Yeah. The vendor's got a price and they're putting the pressure on you. Yeah. They want you as the agent. Yeah. Like even if you say all the things like, mate, listen, if you're putting it with me, I'm selling it at this.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're like, no, you're selling it at this. Yeah. And they push to have you sign them up, and then you've got this dumb property listing that sits there for months.
Yeah. And they're not fun, are they?
Well, no, it's stressful because you're responsible for everything, right?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. And I think it's important with that. When we are having those discussions with our vendors, we show them all the comparable sales. We give them all the information that they need to see what their property should be worth. At the end of the day, we can't force buyers, and a price is what the buyers think that it's worth. So we can only do so much, but I think, you know, again, that honesty and transparency, showing them all the information that we can give them on other comparable sales, what the market conditions are like at the moment, because sometimes if you're selling in a market that's not hot, then expecting a really high price makes the process even more difficult. So there's so much knowledge that we have to share with them to explain why we think something should be priced where it is. Otherwise, you're just stuck with a listing that isn't selling, and it's not a good experience for anyone, is it?
No, can vouch for that. I've been there. And it is stressful. So that's why, thank you for answering so honestly, right? Because like I said, underquoting is a big thing, but a lot of it I find sometimes is driven by vendor expectations.
Yeah. And look, it definitely can be. And that's why being able to manage those expectations by, at the end of the day, hold facts. Like we've got the facts in front of us.
It's like data doesn't lie.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. And then I guess when you've got buyers that are coming in with an offer and you've got multiple offers at a similar range, it's quite obvious where buyers are seeing that price.
Yeah, and that's the thing I think that a lot of vendors probably miss, right? It's the market is determining the price.
That's right.
So if they're going to come in and all of it's ballparking very similar, you're kind of the one saying, well, this is the market.
Yes, exactly.
What do you want to do?
That's right. That's right. That's right. And sometimes, you know, you can even say to your vendors, you can spend a couple of $1,000s on advertising to test where the market sees your property, because at the end of the day, we want everyone to sell their house for a price that feels comfortable and feels right for them, because they're also thinking about their future as well. But yeah, again, giving them the facts, showing them the information and being honest is just so important in the process.
100%. And I was just thinking right then, you're, because you post a lot of behind the scenes on your socials and client wins on Instagram. What role does, I guess, authenticity play in like when you do business, like how it comes out in your socials? So I love your content.
It's funny because I get a lot of feedback about my content, which is nice because we do put a lot of effort into it. But it's one of those things that I want people, when they meet me in person, to feel like they already know me.
Yeah.
And I think showing the wins, the losses and everything in between is so important for showing people, who we are as people, because, we, as I said, are really, our aim is to help our vendors in every single way that we can. So being able to show that, and even the buyer experience we love. Like a lot of agents are focused on their vendors, which is fantastic. But we love helping buyers as well, because at the end of the day, if we don't have buyers, then we don't have houses. That's exactly right. So being able to show everyone what we do, how we do it, and what the experience is like with us, I think is really great.
That's amazing and very well put. I think this next segment that we have to talk about, before we kind of go into your success stories, is our fan favorite. It's fan requested. This came up. I did it once, and then we just got a whole bunch of requests about it. So we've now made it a standard part of our show. Yeah. So we jump on the Oz Property Chat from time to time on Reddit and other forums. And what we see is we see people commenting their stories or their comments about different parts of the real estate journey. And what I would love to play with you today is some myth busting.
Yep.
So you up for it?
Let's go for it.
All right. So let's set the record straight. Okay. So this first Redditor says, you don't need a real estate agent in 2024 or 2025. Just use online platforms and a conveyancer and save the commission. Oh, Jesus Christ. Look, this DIY attitude is gaining a lot of traction. What's your take, and what are sellers risking when they do go through this alone?
It's actually such an interesting question, because we have had a few people that have tried to do it themselves and it just hasn't worked. And so they've come to us and said, what are we doing wrong? Can you help us? And there's just, as you would know, as an ex-agent, there is so much that goes on behind the scenes to not only get a listing up and running, but to actually sell the property as well. And I think
discount that marketing side.
Absolutely. But it's also, so when we meet a vendor, we do a lot of stuff before we even get to putting it online. Every photography and videography session, we are there. We are helping the photographer. We've got such a great relationship with the guy that we use. And so he will ask for our feedback, and, we help shape the campaign online so that it looks amazing. And it's not even just that, it's we go to their home and we will go through every room and say, how about we move this? How about we change that? Right. Why don't we put a print here? How about we declutter this space to open it up? And then it's all the other stuff like buyer interaction. We've obviously got a database of buyers that we can talk to before we've even put the property on market. So there's just so much. And at the end of the day, as we spoke about before, people aren't going to give a vendor honest feedback to their face.
No.
That's where agents will take that feedback and we can provide it.
That's a really interesting point, because no one to your face is going to go, mate, you put it way too high.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not paying for it. And then the vendor's going to respond reasonably.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an emotional thing.
That's right. And at the end of the day, if you don't have an agent helping you, who's taking away that stress? And, where we really care about our vendors and getting them the best experience. So I think if you do it alone, it's probably going to be a lot more stressful, and you might not get the price that you want because you might not have great negotiation skills. There's just so much that I don't think people understand an agent does, and all the behind the scenes work that we do just to get a listing on, but then all the interactions after it.
So there's so much to it. Like, I loved what you said at the beginning of the episode, how you said, we go with a strategy that's fundamental, and you've got a plan A. But then when plan A doesn't go according to plan, what's B and
that's
C,
right.
and
that's right.
So on.
Yeah.
That's so needed.
Yes.
Because sometimes, I think there's a lot of questions around, like, a lot of people want to put their house on for auction because they see that it performs well. But auction also performs well in certain situations, certain suburbs,
That's
certain times.
exactly right.
It's like it's not always
that's exactly
the right
right.
move.
Yeah.
And what's your take on that?
Everything you just said is so correct. There are some suburbs that are fantastic for auctions, and then there are others that they just don't work as well. And again, it's providing that information to the vendors and saying, we think that a private sale would be best for your home. These are the reasons why. At the end of the day, it's their decision how they want to go about it, but providing them that information, telling them that we genuinely want to help them get the best result and we feel that this is the best way to do it is so crucial, because what works in one area isn't going to work in another area. Again, giving them the facts, showing them the proof, and then the decision's theirs at the end of the day.
And then you put it on market and you see what the market says.
That's right.
And I think, it goes straight into the perfect comment, right? So this next Redditor says, agents always push for auction, even when it's not right for the sale, just to create hype. Have you ever had a situation where you've started off with a strategy of private sale, but then it's turned into, auction, or vice versa?
Yeah.
Like where it's gone to auction, that strategy didn't work and you've had to flip it around. And how do you turn that around for the buyer to still get a good result?
Yeah. We haven't really had a situation like that, because I think from the start, we make it very clear what we think is best and how it should run. And I think because we do everything with such a good system, we're able to get the results that the client is wanting.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Past clients who have said that they started off with a strategy of private sale and then they've been pushed into auction, got passed in at auction, gone back to private sale, sold at a loss. I see that happen from time to time.
It's just coming down to open communication and just being really honest with them and saying, this is what we think we need to do. These are the other options. But at the end of the day, this is where our strengths are. You're in a suburb where this is how it's going to work the best. Yeah. Let's do it this way. Let's sell your property at a great price where you're happy, and let's do it right from the start.
It's awesome too, because you specialise in Langwarrin. You know the area. You've grown up there.
That's right.
Like no one's going to have that boots on the ground experience like you are to know. And you've watched that market perform all your life.
That's right.
When it's gone up, when it's gone down, what's been trending, what's gone out, what's gone in. And I think that level of life experience in a suburb is very rare.
Absolutely.
And that I honestly would say is one of your biggest edges. Yeah. Because you know exactly what's going on.
Yes. Every house, every street.
It says, the agent just shows up for the open home, then the buyer does the rest. What am I paying for?
I guess we did discuss that earlier, but there's just so much that happens. And we do more than just unlock a door and let buyers come through. And
so when you start out, like obviously you get an appraisal.
Yeah.
What are the steps and what journey do you kind of take the buyer on? So there's obviously, like you've mentioned, a few steps, but let's kind of go through like that breadth of day 1 to 0, 0 to end of the day.
Yeah. So when we get a call, we obviously get as much information on the property as we need. We will ask them if they would consider staging. That way we can get quotes before we go to the property. So giving them as much information when we're there, again, so critical, so important. So once we've gotten all the information that we need from the phone call, we do our research on the systems that we use, and we can come up with the pricing strategy and all that type of stuff. We go to the house, we check the house out, we have that discussion. If they need trades, we assist with that. So we will call our tradespeople and say, this is what needs to be done. Can you give us some quotes? Again, we're giving our vendors everything that they need. We're taking away that stress. We're providing all the care and support that we can so that they can enjoy a really smooth process. So from there, if we get the listing, excellent. Everyone's happy, everyone's excited.
And the stress begins. But like the vendor's like, wow, this is great.
Yes, like,
Yep.
Yeah. I do a session where I will go through the property again and I will walk through with the vendor and we will discuss anything that we think needs to be changed, anything that needs to be added to the property to, I guess, make it better or, removing clutter and stuff like that. So just really giving them everything that they need to present their house in the best possible light. And then obviously we're working with conveyancers. If they don't have one, we're providing them details for ones that we recommend. Then we start writing the ads. We write all our ads as well, which I know a lot of agents will get external people to do. We write our own ads. We put a lot of time and effort and love into writing the ads because we get to be in the property. We get to feel the property. We get to hear stories about the property as well. And, so I feel like we're the ones that have the best say, obviously apart from the vendors.
Oh, yeah. Sure. But you're representing.
That's right. To write a really nice and honest experience and story, I guess, of the property. And then we have our photos and our videography. And as I said, we go to all of those sessions and we are there every step of the way. We're moving things around. Our photographer's directing us what to do. And, we are just in that process with him and we absolutely love it. We're spending an hour with our vendors, creating that relationship even more with them, and they're seeing how everything works and everyone's happy. And then we pop the listing online and then we wait and we get the phone calls. And actually, I should take a step back. So before we put the listing online, we do contact a lot of buyers in our database that are after that specific property. So that way we are, giving them an exclusive market viewing, I guess. And then, from there we pop it live. And then we do our open for inspections. We get people in.
Nice.
Then we start with the buyer negotiations and the feedback and all of that type of fun stuff.
So much strategies.
Oh, there is. And that's what I mean. It's like, it's not just walking up to a door.
No.
Opening it up and welcoming everyone in and then off we go. It's so much.
It's like that's the bare minimum.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And like sometimes you are having, really deep conversations with people and
yeah, true.
You hear about people's lives and just everything. So there's a massive care component on our end because especially when you're going into a property that for some people like your family, you were there for over 40 years. So there's a lot of memories and a lot of history. So being able to just be a really good agent and just create a really good service and a really professional service.
Yeah.
And I think having those procedures and steps that we do take makes that initial meeting with our vendor to the very end when we're handing over the keys to the new purchaser is just an experience that we want to be the best for everyone involved.
And it really comes out in the way you explain it, like that, all those steps that you do. I know so many agents who don't do the attending of like every...
Yeah, well, that's what our photographer said. He goes, you guys are here all the time. And I've been doing some agents for years that I've only seen a handful of times. And yeah, for me, I mean, it's just another step in the process that we're a part of. So
I just think it's awesome because like your photographer's right. It's rare. Like I've seen a lot of agents that kind of just leave it up to the professionals. Like, just let yourself in, go in, do what you need to do and talk to the vendors and figure it out.
Yeah.
But because you're involved, I feel like that's why your success rate is what it is, because you're being in touch at every moment.
Yes,
and
that's right.
You're so immersed in that property. I think your vendors would be very thankful to have that support.
Yeah.
Because it's stressful.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you for playing Mythbusting.
No, that is fine.
I love doing that. Giving sellers a clearer picture of, what's really involved.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked about, the trust that you've built with your vendors. So let's get into some of your more memorable sales.
Yeah.
So can you share a client story where you helped them achieve something that they didn't think was possible?
We actually had one last year. And so the daughter called up and it was time for her mum to be moved into aged care. And it was such a delicate situation because, the mum didn't want to move on from her property. She had been there for a very long time. Her husband had passed away and there was a lot of emotion and we had to just step in and again, take that stress away, give every party involved in that so much love, care and support because it was just an experience for them that was a very hard one because of all the memories in that property, all the history, all the family events. And the fact that her mum didn't want to leave, it was really heartbreaking. And there was moments where, we were all just, in tears over it because it was just such a It was a beautiful experience, but a sad experience as well, because, you know, we're helping this family move from one chapter of their life into another. And I think we just made the process so easy, simple, and a good experience. And we sold the property within a week. So they didn't have to do countless opens. And it was a very simple process that we did for them. And I think that's one that always stands out for me because, you know, there are other things that I won't go into, but it was just such a very hard time for them. And to be able to alleviate some of that stress and provide them with, you know, a walk into their new place, with an easy way was just really good for us as agents to walk away and say, we actually helped someone in a really hard spot in their life.
Yeah, that makes me very emotional.
Yeah.
Because I can relate, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful thing. It's very touching.
Yeah.
That's how you handle and got to manage that situation. I think that's what it's all about, you know. Yeah. I think everyone sees the glitz and the glam of real estate.
That's right.
You know, the $1 million properties that sell and how fun it is and how fast paced it is.
Yeah.
But no one really sees like those tougher situations where a lot of people are moving the next stage of their life. It's not always a happy
that's right.
situation. It's
that's
divorce.
Right. Divorce, deaths, like there's so much.
And it's a really tough one on the emotions for the agents.
Absolutely.
So no, I think people don't give agents enough credit for the human situations that you put in and having to manage them.
That's right. And that's why I am such a big advocate in trying to change how people see agents, because I know that there are some agents that have, I guess, changed the way people see us, but there are so many of us who are genuine and really, really care, and we are there to provide the best service that we can. So that's where I'm trying to kind of, you know, change the way people see us. And
I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Like I said, I felt like when I was in the industry, that was exactly me, you know, and I had a great sympathy for buyers, and I had, you know, I was always torn. I was like, oh, gosh, you know, I want to help my vendors because they're the ones, you know, who need the support, but equally trying to help buyers secure their first home or making sure that they have a good journey is a tough juggling act, you know. And it kind of goes into this next one, you know, have you had to navigate like those really tough situations, like emotional sellers, or not even, we've gone through that example, but the negotiations between buyers who really, you know, want something, but maybe they can't afford it.
Yeah.
They're trying to negotiate, and you kind of end up having a soft spot for that.
And look, it does happen because, and especially in the really hot markets where buyers are missing out on properties, and even at the moment, like a lot of properties aren't even hitting the market because they're being sold off market. So buyers, we're getting referred to a lot of buyers who are just having really bad experiences with some agents, and because we are known for that care and support, they're reaching out to us and saying, you know, what are we doing wrong? How can we get a property? Like we really want to move on to our next property, but we're just missing out on all of them. So there's a lot of that going on. Being honest with people and getting people in the right position to be able to buy as well, especially in markets that are really hot. Is really important.
Market at the moment.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's just going to keep heating up. So
especially now that we're going to come into September, October.
Yes, that's right.
This is the time where everyone either tries to buy and settle before Christmas.
Yes,
or they're trying to buy to settle within the holidays.
That's it, yeah.
Oh, man. But I think, you know, you've put it really well there, like those tricky situations where people kind of miss out on properties, get properties. It's all about that. Like, I love that buyers are calling you for that help, because it speaks volumes. Like, buyers don't typically want to, you know, call the agent unless they're actively trying to buy a house.
Yeah.
The fact that they're ringing you to find out what they can do to get into the market just says, like, so much about how you operate. Yeah. So kudos to you on, you know, breaking down that stereotype.
Yeah.
Because the reality is every industry has bad apples.
That's exactly right.
Know what the red flags are and then find the good ones like yourself and use them.
That's right. Every vendor is different, and we do a really great job, I guess, of being able to work around each vendor, because each vendor has a different way of doing things. They have a different preference. So open communication again, honesty and transparency, and being able to say, this is what we think needs to be done. What do you think? What do you want? How can we best help you? We will give them our guidance, and then we work with them to obviously get the result that they're happy with. Presentation is so important, especially in the hot markets when there's, a lot of listings on. It's really important that we nail that. People who are able to put their trust in us and to listen to our guidance and to our experience, they're generally the ones that will get a great result. But also having vendors that understand pricing as well and understand that you will get what a buyer is willing to pay for it. And it's obviously our job to get the best price that we can for a property. But to do that, what can we do to create a bit more competition, or what can we do in your property to increase that price?
Well, look, thank you so much, Bianca, for coming on the show today. I've thoroughly enjoyed this chat. Fellow ex-real estate agent, here's her agent. I love hearing I want to have people on this show that are passionate about what they do, and it just comes out so clearly, how you operate. What would you say, to leave our listeners with one thing, what would you want our sellers listening to take away from today's episode?
I think it's really important to find an agent that you trust and that genuinely cares about your property and your experience. And research your agents, find out who is similar to you and who is going to work their ass off to get you the price that you want, but also someone that actually cares about the emotional experience that you're going through as a seller, because I think there are agents out there who dismiss that, and that's where, Daniel and I are here to be the opposite of that and actually show you what it's like to have an agent that cares about you and your family, and getting the best price for your property so that you can move on to your next life journey in a profitable way with a great experience behind you.
I love it. No, well said. And look, for all our listeners, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. And Bianca, again, thank you so much for being here. It's been a really good chat.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Of course. Hope you enjoyed that, everyone. Today, we've explored what it means to sell with an agent who actually gives a damn. So from pricing to prep to strategy and transparency, if you're a seller in Langwarrin or in the Southeast and you want someone who blends hustle with honesty, you can check out Bianca and her team via the links in our show notes. Please reach out to her. As I always say, it costs nothing to have a chat. And, this episode, if it's anything to go by, you're going to get someone that's truly in your corner and who's passionate about the market, but not just about what your property does and how it works, but also your experience. And I think that's the key takeaway from today's episode, is that not everyone is the same. Do your research, reach out and have conversations and get the right people in the door. Make sure you subscribe or follow the No BS Real Estate Podcast for more down-to-earth episodes just like this one. That's a wrap for this episode of the No BS Real Estate Podcast, powered by Abodey AI. If you found this conversation helpful, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who might need it. If you're looking for more guidance on your home buying journey, you can visit www.abodey.com.au for expert advice, property insights, and the tools you need to find the right home with confidence. If you're already on your journey, you can also download our app. Just search Abodey AI on the App Store or Google Play. Have any questions or want to connect, you can follow us on Instagram at abodey.com.au or send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.